Hey everybody, I got a story to tell. I've been through a lot, so you gotta work with me when it comes to my memory as far as dates. But I think that I can do this. I think I can do this. I can do this. I'm in my garden, my favorite place to be. Everything is just looking so beautiful. I have like 6 flowers that bloomed. I've been impatiently waiting for this to happen since I planted them in April. But yeah, that's not why we're here. So in 2010, roughly, a year after I got out of the military, I found myself married, but I was not like living with my husband actively because he was in jail. And so I was by myself with my 1-year-old and 2-year-old. They were roughly around that age. Yeah, my son was about to turn, he was about to turn 2. And my daughter was like almost 1. Nevertheless, it was just us. And so my my husband at the time was in jail. So I ended up getting a job, and I was working at Walmart overnight. And the kids would go to the babysitter, and then I, come home, do the mommy thing. Now, because I, was a single mom and I didn't have extra money to like do all the like self-care pampering things to pay for it, like getting my nails done, getting my eyebrows waxed and things like that. So I started doing my own nails. And I'm from the South, but I was living in a small town in Alliance, Ohio. And so, I went in, I got a little drill, I got the acrylic. I didn't know what in the world I was doing all the way, but, basic instructions, I just tried to figure it out. And I did. So then once I, got the nails on, they were like thick and not cute. So what I did was I would cover them up with all types of crazy designs. So at work or at the store when I'm getting gas or something like that, people would be like, "Oh, your nails are so cute. Where do you get them done?" And I was like, "I do them." And they was like, "Oh my God, how much do you charge?" So at that point, I was like, charge. This could be some side money. So I enrolled into a beauty school. And at that time, I think it was like pushing towards 2011. I had a lot of domestic violence going on at that time, so I fled out of the state to Georgia. So I went to my hometown in Columbus, Georgia, and I was like, you know what? I got to get back in school so I can do these nails. So I go to school, and I finally finished it in Columbus. I went to Rivertown School of Beauty and Skincare. And then right after I got my nail certificate, I went right back to school the very next semester for skincare. So this is around 2012, 2013. And when I first got out of nail school, the whole thing was to have my own business, and I did. I had all the stuff at my house. I invested in a pedicure chair, a desk, all types of polish, a sign, had it all up in this room. Like, it was like this house was basically a hairstylist used to live there, and so in the front it had its own entrance, its own bathroom. So I turned it into my own little nail salon. But I wasn't making no money. So I ended up going to a nail salon. The first nail salon I went to, it was a Chinese lady. And yes, she was Chinese. I know they're not all Chinese, but this one was. And she was so mean. But I did learn a lot there. She was like, you don't sit your polished bottle down. You need to hold it in your hand. That looks professional. I'm going to cut my cat because he is like jumping all over my plants trying to get bees and bugs. And that's not cool because I need them to pollinate my stuff. Hunter. Ooh, you going inside. You gonna go inside, you better stop. You're worse than a 3-year-old. Okay. So, I was, of course, the only black girl that worked there, dark skin. And my desk was all the way in the back by the trash can in the sink. And it just used to always be so nasty back there. So I decided one day to clean the area so at least my area would be cleaner and nicer. And you should see him now trying to walk like a tap rope. I'm gonna cut him. Hunter. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, Hunter, stop. Okay, I gotta take him inside, y'all. I'm not even gonna be able to finish this. He messing around. I got butterflies out here. Do not run from me because you gonna go inside. Nope. Nope. I'm trying to tell a story here. You're doing the most. Oh, Lord. So, anyways, I'm cleaning up my area, and there was a piece of broken glass on the floor, and I didn't know it, and I'm scrubbing the floor, just trying to make it, clean. And the glass goes into my hand. I still got the scar to this day. Y'all can't see it for real. It went so deep. I'm gushing blood. They one of the guys that works there, after I'm finished rinsing it off, he gets tobacco and he stuffs it with tobacco. I end up going to the hospital. I had to get stitches, and they could care less. There was no paid time off. There was no, we're gonna, pay for your medical bills, nothing. So I ended up quitting. And then I ended up going to a higher end nail salon that was on the north side, which is like the rich side of the city at the time. So I get up in there, and then I'm doing nails or whatever like that. And this was the first time that I cut a client really, really bad. Like, this is only my first year out of nail school, so I'm not no pro, I'm a novice, and I'm just trying to keep up with everybody else. But I'm also trying to do acrylics because, of course, you get paid more to do acrylics. So I cut this lady finger so deep with the e-file because I had a really coarse bit on there. I didn't know what the world I was really doing because I didn't have training that well with the e-file when I was in nail school. When I was in nail school, it was so it was interesting. And our nail teacher, I think she ended up quitting, and so at the end we ended up getting one of the students that had just graduated. She ended up being our teacher. So after I cut that lady, she was so sweet to me, a nice little light-skinned lady. That's what I call white people, light-skinned, because that's what they are. They're light-skinned. So she even tipped me and everything, and I was just so distraught to the point where I was like, I can't do this no more. And I ended up getting fired from that job. The guy texted me. He was like, hey, you can come and get your check, and just, you don't have to come back anymore. And I was like, ooh, okay. So from there, I ended up pushing my own business. And I'm like, I'm just going to do, manicure, pedicures. And meanwhile, I'm still in school for skincare. Because when I was in school for nails, I kept seeing the skincare students. And I was like, oh my God, that is so cool. Like, I really want to do that too. It was just so interesting to me, like the chemistry of all the different, I want to say fruits and vegetables, but all the different things that you can use. Yeah, like fruits, like vegetables, like plants, flowers, just different chemicals and what it does to your skin. It was just so interesting to me. So that's why I ended up going for that as well. So the next nail salon I ended up going to was on the east side, closer to where I lived. And while I was in there, the owner, he was so nice. He took the time to help me get better with acrylics, and I liked that place. But I noticed that there was a trend going on, and the trend was that they don't like to clean and clean the right way, like with bleach and cleaning tools, like really like putting them in a sanitizer or in the liquid, the barbicide, for the 10 minutes and rinsing them and then putting it in the sterilizer box. And it's not like it really takes that much extra time, That's why you have multiple sets of tools, so that while one is being cleaned and sanitized, you can use the other one. So this man wanted me to clean out the pedicure tub with Dawn soap and with Fabuloso. And so I kept telling them, like, I'm not going to keep doing this because people are going to end up getting funguses or something that's not going to go good with this. Because we using pedicures that got the jets. Jets weren't ever clean. Sometimes I would end up staying later or coming in earlier just to clean them. Now, let me tell you, this was a trend at every nail shop I worked at, except for, I'm trying to think, except for one, and that's the last one that I really quit working at. Okay, so I ended up quitting that job because I just couldn't keep doing it. Like, mentally, I was just like, we're not doing right by these people, and I try my hardest in life to do right by people. So I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Here, I'll just hustle to get, my own clients so I can do it the right way. And they used to pull me aside in the back and be like, hey, you can't clean your tools like this because it's making us look like we're not doing the same thing. And you can't take the extra time to clean the tub out like that after you do a client because, again, we're all doing the same thing. So it makes it look like we're not doing something right. And I'm like, yeah, that's the whole point. So anyways, I ended up leaving there. And then I started doing my own clients here and there. And so the thing with doing nails is, it's like I have to talk to people, it's conversational most of the time. And so we were taught in school to like not really be their therapist and not really talk to them about anything personal. If it's anything personal, then you just try to gently change the subject. It never happens like that. So I'm sitting there and I'm getting dumped on every day. I'm learning about who's cheating on who. I'm learning about who got sugar daddies coming in. I'm hearing people talk so bad about themselves. And this is just like every nail salon that I worked at. So I ended up moving. In 2017, I went to Virginia and I started working at a nail salon there, and they were just as nasty, if not more. But the only difference with this nail salon is when I was telling them, hey, we shouldn't do it like this, we should do it like this, they actually listened to me. So they started caring more because I was educating every client I got. Every client I was telling them, no, we're not supposed to do that. No, they're not supposed to do that. They were using cheese graters, the not real cheese graters, but they look like cheese graters to scrape off the excess dead skin on the feet. And I was just telling everybody, like, that's not good. It's going to grow back harder and faster. You got to think about it. You walk on your feet. You do not want super thin, super soft feet. Like, God knew what he was doing when he created the thick skin on our feet. Like, you don't have to have a thick old callus, but you're supposed to just shave it down with like a foul consistency, not just taking off chunks and chunks of skin. And a lot of different things they asked me, like, how should we get the line down? Like, how do we know who's next and who's not? Because people were saying, I was here first, I wasn't. I'm like, do a sign-in list. And my ideas, they were listening to me, and to the point, they loved me so much, and I loved them too. I really did. They were like one of the best salons that I worked at, because it was mutual respect. It wasn't no hateration in there, and also I wasn't the only dark skin. Okay, so fast forward from there, and also I ended up getting my licenses transferred there. It's also when I realized that I really didn't want to work at another place for skincare, because when I went in there, everybody hated their job. Like, all they would do was just talk trash in the break room, and that was like so taxing. And I'm like, oh my Lord, like, nothing really good to look forward to. So I ended up leaving there, Virginia, and then I moved back to Ohio because I wanted to open my own business there. And that's where my ex-husband, my children's father, lived. And so I was hoping that maybe he could help me with the kids, like at least babysit them while I go back to school and while I open up my business. Yeah, that didn't go through. I tried working at another salon, and then they were nasty there too, and they wanted me to be there all day, and I was like, I cannot. I have kids. I can't be here all day. So I ended up leaving that alone, and so I stopped doing nails until I left. I had to leave Ohio yet again, flee from domestic violence, because this man, he ended up finding where we were. Anyways, so I go back to Georgia, and then this time I'm in Atlanta. So when I get back in Atlanta, I done ran from domestic violence, and I'm trying to get back on my feet. So I was working at Walmart again. And when I got a 2-week check from Walmart, and I want to say this was in 2000, and I think it was the ending of 2018. Yeah, something like that. The beginning of, it was like August in 2018. Don't quote me on these years. Like I said, I have been through so much, I could barely remember. That was like my coping mechanism. Like, anything that happened to me, I just act like it never happened. And I know that's not healthy, but that's mostly the reason why I'm also like sharing my story, so I can just get it off my chest and get it out. So I found this nail salon, and actually, this is how I did to find a job. I Googled all the nail salons in the surrounding areas within 10 miles. I wrote them down, and then I called each one until one said they were hiring. And then I went to that one. So I went to that one. They wanted to see my work. I showed them my work. And they're like, when can you start? And I'm like, boom, you can start now. I said, boom, I'll be here this weekend. So I started working there. And the people there, they're really nice and kind. And I already know the drill. Like, hoping that they would be as clean as others, but they really wasn't. And they even tried to pull me aside and say, hey, you can't do stuff different from us, because the client's looking and they're thinking that either you're doing something wrong or we're not doing the same steps. And I'm like, okay, but I still did extra. And then again, I stayed at the end of the night, and I would open up all of the pedicure tubs where the where the jets are, and I would do a deep clean with them, scrub it with a brush. I fill them up with water, put bleach in it, let the jets run, let all the water out, fill it back up, rinse it out again. Also, I didn't care how they felt about me taking extra time to clean my tools. Like, it just was what it was. They even went as far as saying, you gotta move faster. The faster you move, the more money you can make. Just skip some steps. And then with nipping, you don't have to get every little thing. Like, just do one or two on a toe and then just go to the next. And I was just like, whoa. So I'm still like low-key snitching, and I'm telling on the clients that I get, like, I'm going to do it the right way. Yes, it's going to take a little bit longer, but this is what you're going to get when you come to me. And then this was my first time experiencing racial profiling from a dark skin. And so I'm on the south side of Atlanta. We get a few celebrities that come in, or celebrity baby mamas that come in, or people who think they're celebrities and want to be, and they're known for like their nail art. And I wasn't just the best at nail art, so I tried, and I would have to try really hard sometimes. Like, I was the type of person that if you give me like something really intrinsic to draw, I could do it. But if you ask me for some polka dots, it's like, oh my God, where do I put the dot? Oh my God, now it looks like a tic-tac-toe. Now it looks like connect the dot. But again, like I said, they were really nice and kind to me. But then I was like, I need more money. So I started going back to school to do massage therapy, which is just my love. I just really, really wanted to do massage therapy. And I also wanted to open up my own business, like legit this time. So I'm in school for massage therapy, and then it became too much of me staying there. Oh, no, let me go back with the racial profiling. So there were dark-skinned girls. This one time, this dark-skinned girl came in, and she was, before she could even get all the way in, she like was loud. It's just like, I don't want the black girl. I do not give me the black girl. Like, I've never done her nails. She has never seen my work, but she's just like loud and crazy. It was so bad that one of the girls there started crying on my behalf, because she was like, oh my God, I can't believe that that she did that she said that. Like, oh my God, she doesn't even know your work. You do good work. And meanwhile, back at Rinse, let me tell you, I really did do some decent acrylics. I cared about the client. When they came in there and they wanted me to pop off their nails, I'm like, first of all, I don't like popping off nails. As a matter of fact, I just learned how to pop off nails there. They showed me a trick to use the nail of a fake nail to go under the other fake nail to pop it off. And I was just like, oh my God. And I'm telling them, like, it's better to just soak it off. If you pop it off, you're damaging your nail bed. Some people just did not care, and they just wanted another new set quick. But yeah, that happened. Black girl saying, dark skinned girl saying that she don't want me to do her nails. And then I forget, for real. I think it was something that happened why I ended up quitting the first time. Like, I don't even know. I think something happened between me and the owner or something, and I was just like, you know what, I quit, and I just focused on going to school. But I low-key needed some more money. Being a single mother is not it, okay? And so I was like, well, let me go stop by the shop, see how they doing. So I go by the shop, and they're like, oh, you come back to work. And I was like, y'all would really hire me back? And they were like, yeah, you can come back. And I was like, oh, bet. So I ended up coming back. So at that point, I stayed there. I'm there, and I ended up finishing massage school. I graduate from massage school, and I just haven't gone to state board. I still ain't been to state board, but state board costs $200, and I'm just like, I don't have an extra $200 to just be given, and then don't know if I'm even gonna pass the test. And the massage therapy test is hard. Like, they give you a random 100 questions about all the stuff that you learn, and we learn anatomy, physiology, kinesiology, We learned about all the diseases of every part of the body. Like, it goes deep. People wouldn't even know. Just like nails and skincare, it goes deep. Like, we had to learn all that stuff so that we're, held accountable for doing the right thing. Oh, it was one more lady that went off on me. She was like, she was pregnant, and she was like pregnant. I'm talking about do any day type, but not even. But she was like 6 months pregnant, but she looked it super pregnant. And she came at the end of the night when we were about to close, and I was the only person that was willing to do her pedicure. Everybody else wanted to go home. So I did her pedicure, and I didn't skip a step. And the only thing that I did different was I didn't go deep with her massage, because I know that there's 2 points on the foot and on the leg that can trigger contractions, and I'm not going to be held liable for that. So she was like, where's the manager? Can I speak to the manager? I don't like the way you did my pedicure, and this and this and this and that. So then everybody comes in there like, she did everything she was supposed to do. And then they were like, if you really want to be honest, she did more than what any of us in here would have ever did. I was like known for my pedicures there, because hello, I was in school for massage therapy, so all the tricks that I was learning there, I was using on clients. So yes, some people even came in there just to get a leg and arm massage from me, because I love what I do. So then, meanwhile, back at the ranch, of course, still years and years, and even there, like, being dumped on with other people's stuff, and then never mind my own stuff, because at this point I was going through it with my new husband. Shotty didn't like doing no shacking, so that's why I was like, bro, we got to get married, because this ain't it. I love God too much to be shacking. And it's something that I want to say about that too. So with my first husband, I did not ask God, should I marry him? I just did it, and I said, what's the worst could happen? I found out. So with the second one, I asked God, and even asked the pastor, would he bless the marriage? And the pastor was like, he turned to the man and he was like, my cousin is hiring at KFC if you want to get a job, because he didn't have a real job. He was just cutting grass here and there, and I don't know what else he probably could have been doing. But so with the second marriage, I didn't accept God's answer, and so I'm just looking at these butterflies coming in, and it's so pretty, and they're just going from flower to flower. Yeah. So I was at work one day, and I was doing a pedicure, and I was talking to my client about I went to school for skin, I went to school for nails, and I went to school for massage, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna eventually get my license. And so one of the owners of the shop, he's listening to my conversation, and then he just blankly burst out, well, do it then. You keep on talking about, oh, you're gonna get your license, you're gonna go to school. I said, Mr. Cha, oops, I said his name. I said, Mr. Chala, you don't know him, hopefully. I said, I really am gonna do it. Like, I said, but that test costs $200. Are you gonna give me $200? But he just like straight blatantly embarrassed me in front of the client. And so that was not cool to me. So, I was like, after that, my feelings were hurt, and I was like, you know what, this is crazy, this is too much. These people do not respect me. And I was like, plus anyways, once I do get my license, y'all gonna have to up my percentage, because I'll be triple licensed. So I'm licensed, I'm the highest licensed person in here. Like, everybody else in here got one license or 2 license, but I got 3. So how are you going to tell me I'm still only going to be getting 60%? Oh no. That's why I was so eager to like go on and get my my own business and do it the right way, with the actual, and my mind is going blank with it, but I filed to get the actual business name and everything like that. So I'm doing that in the back, and so, and without them even knowing it. I'm like filling out all these applications, getting my business license, getting my business name, working on my price list and my employee handbook and all of that, because I'm like, I'm about to end up leaving this joint and I'm gonna open up my own. So I think something else happened. I want to say it was the fact that they were also my renters. I ended up renting from them, and so if I was late on my rent, they would charge me an extra $50 every week until I paid. And I'm like, usually when people charge you a late fee, it's usually just one late fee, that's it. But no, so they were overcharging me, and then I wasn't even making that much money. And it's like, you see what my check is, you hand it to me, and then you want me to pay you it right back with rent, and you know I got kids and all this other stuff. So it got messy, and I ended up quitting. So I started doing my own thing. I found a little spot, and I'm working in the back room, and I'm, you know, taking my clients there. And then of course some more crazy stuff ended up happening, to the point that I ended up having to leave. Basically, let me tell you. Okay, so COVID happened. So it was 2020, and COVID happened, and so my clientele went down, and it was really hard to get new. And so that means that the person that I was renting a room from, who also was the person who owned the building, that I learned I can't do that. You can't stay with a person you work for. And so I had the conversation with her, and I was like, so if I don't have the full amount or for the weekly rent, you know, are you gonna like give me a little pass until I can get the money and give it to you? Or is it, if you can't pay, you can't stay? And she was like, yeah, if you can't pay, you can't stay. And I was like, ooh. So I'm looking at my little change, and I'm like, I can't give her my last and not know what's gonna happen the next week. So I packed up my stuff, and I went back to my hometown, Columbus, Georgia. Excuse me. So I get there, and then one of my old classmates, she was like a blessing. She was like, girl, I'm finna move into this new big old house. It got a basement with a bathroom, and it's so much space, and you can move in. So I was like, okay, bet. So moved in, and again, it's during COVID. So I ended up setting up shop, and I'm like, everybody in the streets know, like, hey, if you're trying to get your nails and feet done, if you're trying to get a massage or a facial, boom, you can come to the spot, right? And so when I tell you I made the most money in my life as a nail tech without anybody getting a cut, it was then. But I also was going through a low-key healing stage. The Lord helped me so much there, because it was so much that I dealt with while I was there. And again, even with the clients. So I had some clients that were just so extra picky. No, I don't like that line. No, I want this, I want that. And again, hearing all their life stories, and plus I'm going through my own. So again, it's a lot. It was a lot on my mental health, y'all. So anyways, fast forward, I ended up the shops opened back up, and everybody going back to their shops and going back to their regular people. And so I ended up moving out of my classmates' spot, and I only did like a few nails, like maybe 2 or 3 people, and that was it. And I ended up going on a real nice healing journey. And so the house I was in, stuff was always happening to me that I could not, like, the house had mold in it, and it had mold to the point, like, I would go wash my clothes, dry my clothes, fold my clothes, put them in drawers, and then the very next day it would have like a sheet of mold over it. Come to find out that the mold was in it. It was in the air. It was like going through the HVAC system, and the landlord would not fix it. Like all they would do was come and paint over walls. So I was like, I gotta get out of this lease. So they let me out my lease, and I end up moving into these apartments. And at this point, my income is like, it's tight, you know. And so I'm like, okay, oh no, I gotta tell you this now. My income is tight, but I'm like, one more time for the road. I'm gonna open my own business. This time I ended up getting into a real building, but it wasn't. Yeah. So when I was getting ready to move out of the house that had the mold in it, I messed around and called this number from I seen on a van, and it was like a transportation service. And so I was trying to see if it was cheaper than like Lyft or Uber. And so I'm talking to the people, and they're like, so what do you do for work? And I was like, I'm a nail tech. And then the lady, like, she's like turning around all quick, like, what? And I was like, yeah, I have my own business. And they was like, we got a building. And I was like, word? And they was like, yeah, you want to come and see it? We'll bring you to see it, and we can work something out. And they did. Like, they worked out a deal with me to the point where they showed me the building, then they showed me the 2 different rooms. So it's basically like a club. And so in the front, it was like a hall where you could have parties, and then it was 2 other rooms that was kind of closed off, had their own doors or whatever. And there was like, yeah, you could do your nails right here. And then in another room, it was like 3 other rooms, but the 2 rooms that I ended up renting out, one side was like my spa, so I set it up really nice where you can get a facial there. And then I had my nail salon side. And then this time now I'm like seeing like dreams come to reality. I buy these big old egg chairs for the pedicure area. I went and financed a dual nail desk, and I'm like, finally I can do things my way. You know, the sanitation will be clean. I could play music, because even at the shop that I was at in Atlanta, when they were, the dark skinned girl was like, not her, like they were watching the news on TV, and I was like, man, this is so depressing. So I would play a little R&B, old school music, you know, just at my desk for me and my client. And then it got to the point where everybody in the shop was like, okay, you know, having a good time. But then they were like, there's other clients complaining about your music. I was like, okay, so I couldn't have the music on no more or whatever. So anyways, I'm, you know, walking through the neighborhoods around the building. I'm passing out flyers. I'm letting people everywhere know that, hey, I'm gonna be right here. And it didn't last. It didn't last for 2 reasons. One, I was basically making enough just to pay for the space. And then 2, it ended up being shady. Like, the person who had the building, they were like, when you go get the business license for the building, you can't tell them that, you know, it's your business. You have to tell them that you're working for me. And it was just a whole little side stuff. So when I realized it was like that, and then when you open in a nail salon, you have to have like the fire codes right and everything up to par. And that's like when you're opening it legally. So the police officer and the fire people had to come in and check and make sure that it's well ventilated, make sure that you have the fire extinguishers and all of that stuff. And so kind of find out they ain't had their licenses like they're supposed to for theirs. So I was like, I worked too hard for my licenses for it to go down the drain because of somebody else not doing their own thing. And that's another thing that I forgot to add. Oh my Lord, that was the second time that I had to deal with somebody being shady as far as like the building codes and stuff like that. It was this one girl, she had a sugar daddy that gave her a lot of money, and she bought a really expensive building. And I tried to help her by being there with my licenses, but then when I realized all the shady stuff that was going on there, I just packed up my stuff and I left, and I said, look, I love you and I appreciate you, but I'm not gonna lose my license for you either, so you're gonna have to find somebody else to help you with this. But so I ended up getting out of the deal, and anyways, it was a month-to-month contract, so they were just trying to generate more cash just to keep the building, basically. So now I'm at the house, and it's like been 30 days and I haven't been making any extra money, and I'm like, oh Lord, I need a job. And I do not want to go back to a nail salon. I definitely don't want to go back to an Asian nail salon. Like, what am I gonna do? So I stayed in a you ever seen how, like, if there's an area and then it's like on one side it's kind of like the hood, but then like 2 blocks up is like mansions. Yeah, it was like that. So, and then it was like close to like the downtown uptown area. And so I did what I'm good for. I googled all the nail salons near me, spas near me, and I found one. I printed up my resume, took it in. Whew. So I ended up getting hired here, let's just put it that way. And so now when I say that I've owned the cleanest nail salon that I ever worked at was the last one, that was the last one, pretty much. I'm gonna tell you why I say pretty much, but anyways, so I get hired, I start work like almost immediately, and so far it's looking like the best thing that ever happened to me. And this was the one shop where I made the most money doing nails, with even getting a percent taken out of them. I'm talking about my chest was nice for a week or whatever like that. And so it was so good to the point I was paying off debt on my credit. I paid for a cruise for me and my kids. I was going shopping every week at Goodwill, of course, but it was just so fun. I would go to Goodwill, I would go on a shopping spree up in that thing, spend like $20, then go to the laundromat and wash my stuff and bring it home and be smelling so good. But this was a different type of clientele. This was rich folks. This was former mayors, business owners that own 2 or 3 businesses in the area, bank owners, bankers, housewives, real estate agents, teachers, lawyers, doctors. So yeah, I was making good money, but more money, more problems. I used to have this one client, and she was so hard on herself. It was just terrible. And so it got to the point where I would have to make sure that I had my anxiety medicine with me, and I would take it right before I had to do her, because like I would literally be having panic attacks, like, oh my God, how am I gonna deal with her today? Like, oh my gosh, what is she gonna say today? And it's hard to like change the subject when these people are sitting here like telling their whole life story, but not really, or just saying crazy stuff. Like, the thing that used to get me, and I hate to talk about people and clients like that, but it's true. I started seeing that people are really, really vain, and like, here I am, I'm trying to get a divorce. I got my kids, I'm trying to raise them right. I'm just trying to put food on the table to show them a good life. And that's my thoughts and process. What can I do to please God? And then their thought process is, oh my God, I'm so stupid, I'm so dumb. Oh my God, I'm just such a klutz. Picking out 4 different reds and pinks. I don't know, I like this one. I don't know, I'm not sure about that. Hearing them talking about going to different galas, and I ain't jealous, but I'm just like, oh my God, life is so much bigger than which pink you're gonna wear. And so again, yeah, it was weighing down on me. And to the point, like, I would just go in the back when I wasn't on a client, and I'm like watching self-help videos. I'm watching any good content that's just gonna like uplift me. And so this happened. This lady, we were busy one Saturday, and so usually we have one person that they'll leave and go and get food for us. But this time the girl, she left to get something to eat, but she did not get stuff for everybody. And so I was like, well, just call her. We'll all send her some money, and she can go back and get something for us. And then everybody was complaining. When I say they were complaining, I'm talking about the people that worked there. They were all complaining. They was like talking loud and, saying, this is why we need a receptionist here at all times, and just going in. And I was just like, ooh, this is not good. This is tacky. So I'm like making jokes, trying to, laugh off stuff. So I had told them the story. I was like, about one of my previous clients that came that day, and I was like, oh my God, my client that came in earlier today, she is getting married, and she told me she had dressed up in this bunny outfit and to surprise her soon-to-be husband, and she was like, it's gonna be so funny. And so that's what I said. Also, I had my earbuds in my ear. I'm trying to get the sun out y'all face. I had these earbuds in my ear, and I was listening to music because, yeah, it was calming me. And so with all my clients, I always try, when they're sitting there, they'll show the vibe. They either want to talk or they don't. So I'm talking to the client, and I'm like, okay, well, what color do you want? And she was like really meek, and she was like, I don't know, I think I just want to get this, but I want it to be matte. And I was like, okay, cool. So then, I'm asking her, so, how's your day been going? And, you got any plans like for the weekend and things like that? And she was like, no, that was just really short with me. So I left her alone. And then the clients that was getting done next to me and the worker, they were talking about something. So I, chime in on that conversation, like, I know, right? So anyways, this lady leaves. She puts a review on the website, and she said that it was the worst experience she ever had, that I was talking about people the whole time. I was ignoring her. Every time she tried to start a conversation with me, I would say something that she didn't even understand, and I barely talked to her. So basically everything that everybody else was doing and what she was doing, she flipped it and said that the whole complete opposite. And so she was like, and anyways, I was so excited thinking that my nails were going to be the best, because this is a really good spa. Like, they got so many good reviews, and I was just so disappointed. And at the end of the day, all my nails ended up chipping off. Like, all my pain is gone. And so they were like, and who did your nails? So she told them I did it, and I wasn't the only dark skin there. And I was like, oh wow. So the receptionist, she was like, hey LaShonda, when you get a chance, I just gotta talk to you for a second. And I was like, oh, okay. So she takes me to the back, and she's like, the owner and the owner husband wanted me to bring this to your attention. And they read the thing to me. And so I was like, okay. And I was like, so do y'all believe it? And they were like, of course now we don't believe it, because you're one of the most positive people here, which I was. First of all, I mind my own business. I was always professional, because I can't stand unprofessionalism. So I really attempted to be like, just a positive person. And then I never really talked to the people that worked there like that. I was just always in the back reading a book or studying the Bible or blogging about something when I wasn't on a client. And she was like, well, you can't have your earbuds in your ear anymore. And I'm like, okay. The only truth thing that she did right was that I had earbuds in my ear, and I was listening to music. But other than that, Shawty couldn't get nothing right. So they were like, well, she's gonna come back in one of these days this week, and she's gonna get a whole new polish and everything. She said that, you know, there was no polish on. I was like, okay, well, cool or whatever. And so the lady comes back, and I didn't know who she was, like, for real. I did too many nails to know. And she wasn't, like, again, a regular or anything like that. So the lady comes in, and they're like, hey, okay, that's her, she's here. But when she first came in, even the reception, it was like, I'm sorry, what, honey? And so she's whispering, this happened, and they told me I could come and get my nails done. And so the lady was like, the receptionist was like, can you speak up a little bit, please? Because I can't understand you. I don't know what you're saying. And then she had her boyfriend there with her. So she was like, yeah, I just, I'm coming to get my nails redone. And so the crazy part about it was, the lady said that all her nails had chipped, and that there was barely any polish on it. So the reception, it tells me, all her polish is still on. She has to get a takeoff. Now, she was supposed to call and tell the people when she was coming, not just show up to schedule a time. But she didn't. She just showed up and thought that she could get it done. So the receptionist is like, yeah, all her polish is on her nails. She's going to have to get a soak off. And so I walk over to her, and I was like, they were like, oh, yeah, you can't do it. She doesn't want you to do it. She doesn't even want you to touch her. I was like, okay, I won't do it then. So I walked over to her, and I was like, hey. And she was like, no. I said, I'm not going to do your nails. Somebody else is going to do it. I'm just coming to seat you and help you choose your color. She's like, no, that's okay. So she walks over to where the polish is and starts looking for polish. And so the girl that was supposed to do her nails was a little behind. So I was like, hey, just wondering, is it okay if I just start your nails? I won't be doing them, but I will be taking the polish off for you. And she's like, no, I can wait. And I was like, okay. So then the girl who ends up doing her nails, she finally gets to her, and then she sits there and she starts soaking off the nails. So we had this soak off process. It was from it's basically like a polish bottle full of these chemicals that you just take off the top layer of the nail polish, and then you paint it over it, and then it bubbles up, and then you could just easily scrape it off. So the tech that ended up, taking her polish off and redoing her nails, she comes to the back, and she's like, Shonda, all her nails was still on. Like, it took me forever to get all that polish off. And I was like, interesting. Okay. So then the receptionist came back there, and she was like, you're okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. And I was like, but do you think I should, like, apologize to her just for the sake of the shop? So, because I hate that, she wrote that, and I don't want her to think that negatively, so I would just want her to have a positive experience. And she was like, I'm not saying that you have to, but if that's what you want to do, you can do it. So I was like, okay, bet, I'm gonna be the bigger person, because like I said, I'm the type of person, I don't mind taking criticism as long as it's constructive, and I would like to sit there and think, like, did I really do this? Because she was like saying that I was unprofessional, and I was this and I was that. So I was sitting there thinking, like, whoa, is that really how I come off? Because sometimes we as people don't know how we come off to people. So I'm sitting there analyzing myself, like, well, maybe I didn't feel like I was being rude and dismissive, but maybe I was. So I'm going to apologize. So I go to walk up to the lady before she leaves to apologize. And I was like, hey. And she was like, no, please, no. Oh, I was like, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to apologize. No, it's okay. You don't have to. No. She does that, and she does that all the way to the door, backs out the door, and leaves. And I was like, oh, wow. And so I'm saying, at that point, I really realized that, demons are real. Demons are in people, man, because I didn't do anything wrong to that lady. And for her to just blatantly lie is like, oh my God, I was even the people there would tell you, like, Sean, she's the most positive person. she minds her own business. She's always so kind. And everybody else that was coming in was saying the same thing about it, to the point I hadn't been there a year, and I was getting requests, and I started having my regulars and everything else like that. So I think I let a week go by, and I pulled the receptionist aside, and I said, "Hey, I think that I'm about to quit. This job is just weighing too heavy on me, and I can't do it anymore. It's so stressful. It's a lot to deal with, and I already have mental health issues that I deal with. So I just don't think that I'm cut out for this line of work anymore." And they were like, "Oh, well, why don't you just go down on your days a couple of days? Like, you don't have to come in as much as you've been coming in, and just give it some time." So I gave it like another month, and then it was still the same, and I still was like having to take my medicine before certain clients came in, and I was just getting so stressed out. I was like, this is just not for me anymore. Like, it was just like a time in my life, and like I'm like phasing out of it, and that's okay. So then I ended up putting my 2 weeks notice in. I was like, yeah, I'm for real, I can't do it. Put my 2 weeks notice in, and I left. And they were like, "Well, what are you gonna do after this? You gonna go find another shop in Atlanta or something like that?" And I was like, "No, I don't think I will ever do nails ever again for money. Like, I'm over this." So anyways, I ended up going through that summer, and I find myself in Hinesville, and I'm staying with my mom and my dad. Long story. And I was like, yeah, I already got my place. I'm just waiting for everything to go through. So we'll probably be here like less than 30 days. But again, Lashana been working all her life, can't sit still. So I'm like, I can't stay in this house all day just sitting here. I got to do something. So I was like, well, let me make a little extra money, because, I'm moving to a new place. So I'm going to need some stuff. So I was like, okay, I'll try one more time. Found a nail salon that was hiring. Went in for the interview, and then he was like, "Yeah, okay, well, you could start on this day." And I was like, "Okay," but this was the first nail salon when they asked me like, "Well, why did you move here? How long have you been here? And what do you know how?" I mean, he did ask me what I know how to do. They usually normally say that, but how long do you think that you'll stay? And I was like, okay. He seemed really chill and cool. But when I got there, I realized again why I couldn't do this. First of all, the girls that were there were so mean. I guess again because there's a new person there, and she knows how to do pretty much everything in there. And they were like being so nosy and so nasty. And then this place was so different, to where it's like you had to bring your own gel light, your own this, your own that. And I'm like, I've been doing nails for like at least 10 years now, and I've never had to have my own gel light. Like, usually they have their own gel light. I can understand having your own e-file, but oh my gosh. And they offered gloves, but it didn't come like complimentary. You had to buy your gloves. I was just like, oh my Lord, this is just a lot. And then, so because I had to borrow a girl's gel lamp, I had to wait, and I was like, "Hey, can I use your lamp?" And she was like, "Yeah, hold on." And then another girl was like, "You need a lamp? Here, you can use mine." So she brings it over. The one and only client I did in there, I mean, they still owe me about $25, because I did I did a takeoff on her nails, and I did a like $35 pedicure on her. Dude, I was like so nervous. I was shaking. I was just like not comfortable. My heart beating all fast, and it was just so uncomfortable. So I finished that. I washed my tools. I went to the back. I knew that they had the back door cracked open, because some people go back there and they smoke. And I left, and I did not go back. And I texted dude. I said, "Hey, thanks for the opportunity, but I can't do this." And he was like, "Okay, I understand. Thank you anyways." Like that. Boom. He just got a service done, and he got to keep the cash, right? So that was my last time doing nails professionally. And even where I'm at now, like, it got to the point where I was like, I need a job because I can't sit still. Like, I have disability, but I cannot sit still. I have to do something. And I'm like, oh, as soon as I start thinking about a nail salon, talking about anxiety, overload, my heart beating fast right now. Just thinking about, no, I cannot do it. I cannot do it. So I guess the whole moral of the story is, man, you gotta really take care of your mental health for real, because you may not think that you that cray, but then all it takes is that one time, and then you like really do snap on somebody or go off or whatever, and it was just too overwhelming for me. So like, don't sell your soul for no money. Like, at the end of the day, like I said, if you remember, the last nail salon that I worked at in Columbus, I made a lot of good money. I made that come up money. But in order for me to make that come up money, I had to deal with some really unstable clients and coworkers. So it's like, what do you have to choose? You just got to suck it up. And so now the climate that we find ourselves in the U.S. and pretty much worldwide, where it's like hard to get a job, and inflation and all of that, I don't care. I'd rather just be happy knowing that my bills are paid, other than being able to like do the finer things in life, because it's just not worth it. It really isn't. So hopefully y'all could have followed through with this, and maybe it was a point, not for nothing or whatever. Thanks for listening. I just wanted to share that, why I quit working in the beauty industry and the nail tech industry. So until next time, peace.